chef's kiss, because I do tend to read a fair amount, and it's an expensive hobby, y'all. So, first up, Mr. Robin Cook here. Well, Dr. Robin Cook, not to rob him of his proper title. I got Toxin. Now, I have read some Robin Cook books. It's been a while though, it's been a few years. I was definitely on a kick of his stuff for a while. I think the last Robin Cook book that I read was Charlatans, which I loved. I do love like medical thrillers and things. So I'm definitely excited to read Toxin. I do love books where there's some sort of like sciencey kind of vibes or medical vibes. Now this book, when it was new, would have been $7.99 US, and you can see here that at some point it's been sold used for $4.78. Okay, $4 for a book, like that's a-okay. However, I did not pay $4.78 for this book. I paid 50 cents for this book. Isn't that a bargain? Now, I'll read the back of this one for you guys. Just how safe is America's meat supply? Recent health cares and new public awareness have made this one of today's most controversial subjects, and the basis of Robin Cook's most startling and important novel. When a doctor's daughter becomes infected with E. coli, the widespread dangers of bacterial contamination are no longer a subject for debate, but a grim reality. In desperation, he is forced to follow a trail of ignorance and corruption, from the tangled red tape of the medical community to the highest levels of the powerful meat industry. It is an eye-opening thriller that every American should read. And some of the mentions here, so the Chicago Tribune said that this is a cautionary tale, a cover-up of major proportions. The prognosis for Toxin is good. And then the Associated Press said Toxin is one heavyweight of a book, the most socially significant work Cook has ever done. And the Cincinnati Enquirer says that this is a well-researched mix of medicine and suspense. And Robin Cook is an author, but he is also a medical doctor. He graduated Columbia University of Medical School and did his postgrad training at Harvard. And he's got a bunch of books out, and they all tend to have like a medical theme. And because he's a doctor, he's able to really carry it very well and make everything sound believable. So I do love that. So I'm very excited. I can feel if I enjoy this one that I'm probably going to go back and reread some older Robin Cook books that I've read before. So that is the first one of this haul. The next one that I got, very different, is Margaret Atwood, Good Bones and Simple Murders. And there's a big picture yourself here. Now this book, I don't think it says. It doesn't say what its original price would have been. But you can see under here, flip it around, that this thrift store had it priced at $2. And they had 50% off books. I guess they didn't have a lot of space and were trying to free up some. So I got this for $1. Now this one is it's like short stories, and I do love Margaret Atwood, and I was curious to see what some of her shorter stories are like, because I've been trying to write some short stories as well, to get into some lit mags. I do have one published. It was a 50 words micro fiction. But I'd be interested to see how she produces short stories and see if I can glean any interesting things from it that might help me with mine. So it says, in this collection of short works that defy easy categorization, Margaret Atwood displays the trademark wit and virtuosity of her best-selling novels, brilliant stories, and insightful poetry. Among the miniatures gathered here are Gertrude offering Hamlet a piece of her mind, the real truth about the little red hen, a reincarnated bat explaining how Bram Stoker got Dracula all wrong, and 5 home economist methods of making a man. There are parables, monologues, prose poems, condensed science fictions, reconfigured fairy tales, and other diminutive masterpieces punctuated with charming illustrations by the author. The first time these writings have been available in the United States, Good Bones and Simple Murders is Margaret Atwood at her offbeat, exquisite best. Margaret Atwood is the author of over 25 books, including fiction, poetry, and literary criticism. And she is, she was living in Toronto. It doesn't say if she's Canadian, but I would assume that she is. I can't remember her accent, although I've watched interviews with her before. And she actually did the cover illustrations, although the cover design was by Amy King. Margaret Atwood did the illustrations. Do you see all the little illustrations? And I get the feeling this was probably out before we had emojis and things. This is pretty cool. Next up we have something a bit more modern, and that is Karen Slaughter, Pretty Girls. Oh, there's a nice texture on this cover. I'm trying to think which Karen Slaughter books I've read before. I'm reasonably sure that I've read some Karen Slaughter books before. I just can't think for the life of me which ones. I didn't start my Goodreads until last year, and then I just kind of tried to blorp as many books that I could remember reading in there as possible. But over the years I've read so many, and some of them have been digital or library, and there's just very hard to try and remember them all, you know. I do think this is a relatively new one. Let's see. Maybe it's not that new. It's 10 years old. This is from 2015, I believe. Yeah. Pretty Girls copyright 2015. Okay. Not all that new then. But let's see what it says here. Sisters, strangers, survivors. It's been more than 20 years since Claire and Lydia last spoke. Claire is the glamorous trophy wife of an Atlanta millionaire. Lydia, a single mother dating an ex-con, struggles to make ends meet. But neither has recovered from the disappearance of their sister Julia 2 decades earlier, and the shocking murder of Claire's husband brings the horror and heartbreak of the past roaring back into their lives. The vanishing of a teenage girl and the killing of a middle-aged man, almost a quarter of a century apart, what could connect them? As they form a weary truce, the surviving sisters unearth the secrets that destroyed their family all those years ago, and find astonishing truth where they least expect it. And you can see here a nice little bargain at $1, because this would be $17.99 when it was new. It's in beautiful condition. Next up, we have an absolute jonker. Oh my goodness, I could do some damage with this thing. Look at the size of this. It is literally bigger than my head. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I do find myself quite partial to a little bit of Michael Crichton. That's him on the back. We don't really tend to do that so much anymore, do we? Fill the whole back cover with images of the authors. It's like prime real estate for putting the hook of your book on. But I guess with the likes of Margaret Atwood and Michael Crichton, they're just like automatic buys for a lot of people. They probably don't even really need to try and put a good hook of for the book on them, on the covers. So Michael Crichton, as we all know, wrote Jurassic Park, and I love that. Eruption was partially written by him, partially written by James Patterson after he died, and I wasn't so keen on that, and it did get myself another exciting and provocative techno-thriller State of Fear. Only Crichton's unique ability to blend scientific fact with pulse-pounding fiction could bring such disparate elements to a heart-stopping conclusion. This is Crichton's most wide-ranging thriller. State of Fear takes the reader from the glaciers of Iceland to the volcanoes of Antarctica, from the Arizona desert to the deadly jungles of the Solomon Islands, from the streets of Paris to the beaches of Los Angeles. The novel races forward on a roller coaster thrill ride, all the while keeping the brain in high gear. Gripping and thought-provoking, State of Fear is Michael Crichton at his very best. And I got this for the bargain price of $1. It's so heavy, oh my god. And then one more book in this haul. That is Oryx and Creek, another Margaret Atwood book. And this book would have been $26 when it first came out, and at some point it's been sold for $5.99 second hand. The charity shop was selling it for $3, and they had 50% off in this store, so I got it for $1.50. This one, Margaret Atwood's classic novel, The Handmaid's Tale, is about the future. Now in Oryx and Creek, the future has changed. Okay, I have read The Handmaid's Tale, so I wonder if the worlds are connected. As the story opens, the narrator, who calls himself Snowman, is sleeping in a tree, wearing a dirty old bedsheet and mourning the loss of his beautiful, beloved Oryx and his best friend Craig, and slowly starving to death. In a world in which science-based corporations have recently taken mankind on an uncontrolled genetic engineering raid, he now searches for supplies in a wasteland. Insects proliferate, and bagoons and woolvogs ravage the bleak lands where ordinary people once lived, and the compounds that sheltered the extraordinary. As he tries to piece together what has taken place, the narrative shifts to decades earlier. How did everything fall apart so quickly? Why is Snowman left with nothing but his bizarre memories? Alone, except for the more than perfect, green-eyed children of Greek, who think of him as a kind of monster. He explores the answers to these questions in a double journey he takes into his own past and back to Greek's high his project unfolded and the world came to grief. With breathtaking command of her shocking material and with their customary sharp wit and dark humour, Atwood projects us into an outlandish yet wholly believable realm populated by characters who will continue to inhabit your dreams long after the last chapter. This is Margaret Atwood at the absolute peak of her powers. So I do love that when you have a book that you know that it's not real, but they're able to write it in such a way that all of the dots connect in a way that it's believable. Nothing feels too outlandish. Everything is kind of rooted in some sort of way that makes it feel like it works in that world. You know, I do love those kind of stories. It's a very interesting cover as well. That's it, you guys. That is the 5 books that I was able to scavenge from the charity stores nearby. What is going on with my hair today? Yeah, so I've got so many books that I need to read now. It's becoming a problem. I don't know what I should read next. Like I say, I just finished Hounding tonight. So that's like my daytime book, and then I also have a nighttime book that I read on my phone. I don't have my phone here and I can't for the life of me remember what it's called. But it's about a woman who has moved into a house that there was murders that had taken place in. So that's what I'm reading on my phone in bed at night. But I do need to start another physical copybook and work my way through some of these books I've been buying. What should I read next? Drop a comment down below and let me know which of the books that I got in this haul and my other most recent haul. Which one do you want to hear about first? What one should I read